Hello everyone, I wanted to give a severe weather update today because there will be a potentially significant severe weather risk tomorrow, possibly, here in the Kansas City area. So I just wanted to run down a little severe weather update. There is currently an enhanced risk issued for Kansas City. This means that numerous severe storms are possible, with a couple intense storms being possible. This goes all the way down, all the way to Branson. So some very strong storms could be possible. There's also slight risk surrounding it, but that really most of the area is in the enhanced risk region. Unless you're in like Columbia, Jefferson City, Lebanon, those areas are in slight risk of severe weather. So this is the overall severe weather risk. 3 out of 5 on our scale. We're going to move on to our tornado risk. It has changed since my last update on Facebook. We are now under a 5% risk of tornadoes instead of a 10% risk. So that's good news. Down near Branson, they do have a 10% risk of tornadoes. Luckily, we don't. We only have a 5% chance of tornadoes. But there is SIG 1, intensity 1, meaning that EF2 or greater tornadoes are possible here in the Kansas City area. That's what SIG 1 means. Remember, we implemented the conditional intensity outlook a couple days ago. So now we have these SIG intensity levels, and this is intensity level 1, meaning potentially a few EF2s or greater are possible with some of this action that does happen tomorrow. So 5% chance of tornadoes, with some potentially being EF2 or greater. If that does occur, there is a chance we may not see very much in the way of severe weather possibly tomorrow. There is that possibility. So we're going to move on to our wind outlook, and there is a 15% risk of damaging winds tomorrow. The risk was actually downgraded as well, probably because some of the latest model guidance has brought down that threat a little bit, but still something we will have to watch tomorrow night, especially if guidance starts getting worse with winds. But currently, they've brought down the probabilities to a 15% risk. However, there is a SIG 1 risk, or intensity level 1, meaning that up to potentially 75 mile per hour winds are possible across the region here in Kansas City. So we do have to watch for potentially a few significant wind gusts being possible, but 15% chance in coverage wise of winds being possible. Our most greatest threat will be hail tomorrow. This is what's driving our enhanced risk now. It was all hazards earlier, but because of some uncertainty, they have downgraded some of the risks. But hail remains the highest risk tomorrow. 30% chance all the way up here into Kansas City, all the way up to St. Joseph, all the way down to Branson. And there's also that level 1 risk of hail, meaning that 2-inch in diameter or greater of hail could be possible in the Kansas City region. So it's something we will have to monitor tomorrow, as we could see some large hail. Pending, there could be 2 rounds of severe weather that we have to watch tomorrow. Let's look at some of the model guidance here. Right on here. This is the HRRR model. We're going to look forward to tomorrow. So tonight, mostly not much going on until later on tonight, till about 12 or 1 o'clock. We start seeing some rain develop around the region. This is important for tomorrow. If we see rain stick around for a lot of the morning tomorrow, that will bring down our severe weather risk. It will not allow us to get the sun out and warm the atmosphere, give us that instability for severe weather. The more it sticks around. So there's a lot of failure modes tomorrow that could happen, and is why they downgraded some of the risks. As we continue through the morning, it shows that some of the rain may move out by 10 o'clock in the morning. A little bit of shower still to the south, but mostly, for the most part, dry. The question is there going to be clouds around? If we see clearing tomorrow, there's a chance we could see some potentially significant severe weather, including all hazards of severe weather being possible. So, around later on, after 3 o'clock, that's when the first round of severe weather could occur. We can see that here on the model, that it depicts some rain and thunderstorms developing by then. If we see quite a bit of instability, then we could see potentially some strong to severe thunderstorms, again, with all hazards being possible if this round develops. It may not happen. It may not actually happen. There may not be some big storms, or these may just be regular thunderstorms that may not do very much. Maybe a few severe thunderstorm warnings here and there, but it may not be a big severe weather threat potentially, or it could be potentially some supercells developing, causing all hazards, even including tornadoes. And that's something we will have to monitor, because there could be some supercells tomorrow. But again, it depends on what happens in the morning, depends on if we see clearing. So, and eventually it'll clear out for just a little bit before our final round. The cold front comes through. This is where the damaging wind threat will be the highest with the cold front, where we could potentially see maybe up to 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Again, coverage being around 15%, 25 miles of a given point. So, again, that's our second round of severe weather. It'll be mainly a damaging wind threat, and depending on what happens earlier in the day, there may be potential that there could be some little spin-ups in that line too, depending on what happens earlier in the day, because there is some shear going to be there. And instability may try to build back up if we do see a little bit of severe weather in some areas. So, I just want to look at the significant tornado parameter here, because this will show us the chance of potentially seeing a significant tornado. But I mainly want to show this off just to show the potential tornado risk, like what some of the models are thinking in tornado risk wise, and also want to show that if this is our tornado risk, this also has all the ingredients for tornadoes, which includes all the ingredients for severe thunderstorms as well. So even though they may be low, they may be down in the 1 to 2 area, this still indicates that quite a few tornadoes could be possible, and severe weather is pretty possible with some of the ingredients coming together. So, we're going to fast this forward. This is the same model, just on a different website, because the other website doesn't show the significant tornado parameter. As we go forward into tomorrow, this is tonight's look here, and then we move on to tomorrow, and we can see a big area of these darker to grayer colors, which indicates a 1 to 2 in the significant tornado parameter. Yes, that is not way too much here on the significant tornado parameter. However, it's something to note. Again, this is a significant tornado parameter. That definitely indicates how the environment is. If it looks really good, you can see a really good environment out in Kansas and Oklahoma. The thing is, storms may not fire there, so luckily they may not see a big tornado threat or severe weather threat there. But here, there could be some storms that form again. It depends on what happens earlier in the day, and it shows an environment that could be very favorable for at least tornadoes and maybe 1 to 2 significant tornadoes around the region, especially if we see some supercells. As we fast forward, you can see that risk around 1, 2s, maybe up a little higher than 2, but not quite 3. The biggest threat being out in Kansas and Oklahoma, and continues to show we have pretty good risk there, and then it finally starts to move out with not a very big severe weather threat once the front moves through. So there could be a threat of severe weather tomorrow, and it's something we really have to watch. Okay, I did want to bring up a sounding just to show kind of what's going on tomorrow, just to kind of show it off here. This is what we call skew T right over here, and we're going to kind of look at it a little bit. Probably should pick a different color. But yeah, we're going to talk about it just a little bit. So basically the red is the environment's temperature. That green is your dew point where you start getting saturated. And basically when those green and red get together, that's when it's saturated. That's when clouds can start forming. They can start forming very low tomorrow. There's also this white line. This is a very important white line. This is a sample of a air particle in the air. And as you go up, warm air likes to rise, cool air likes to sink. So as warm air rises, this air particle is a lot warmer than the environment around it. Well, as that air particle is a lot warmer, it starts to rise, and that's what forms that potentially thunderstorm, severe weather sometimes. As you continue to go up, it will, because that air particle is warmer than the rest of the environment, will bring that thunderstorm up because it's a lot warmer than the environmental temperature. So that's what we call our instability, the difference basically between the air particle sample and the environmental temperature. So when that's a little bit higher, so it's about 1,000 uh, joules per kilogram tomorrow. That's a decent amount of instability, but again, it will depend on if we can get heating with the sun coming out even a little bit, will help create some of that instability here. Something we'll have to watch here. There's not very much convective inhibition. That's basically our cap for severe weather. That's whenever basically the air particle is cooler than the rest of the environment, which doesn't allow that thunderstorm to grow. And we see it. There's maybe a little bit of convective inhibition there, but there isn't very much. Usually, you can notice it all the way out here. So yeah, it looks like there's not very much convective inhibition. There's a decent amount of instability for storms to form, according to this model. Again, this is just one model. And it shows it can go all the way up here, and whenever the air particle becomes cool again, that's what we call the equilibrium level, where temperature cools down, and that's where the thunderstorm would start expanding up here. So just a little bit of meteorology knowledge there. If we look over the side here, this is sounding. Usually when this is curved, like this is right here, usually it indicates a pretty good tornado risk. And this is pretty curved here, indicating a potential at least a little bit of a tornado threat being possible tomorrow. So if a storm forms, it may be able to become tornadic. Usually we see it curved like that when there's a good chance of at least seeing tornado or tornadoes around the region. Also, we can also note that as we're going down in the atmosphere here, we can see that wind and direction is changing because wind shear is wind's changing either in direction or speed, and we see it changes from this direction into going kind of down, which indicates some wind shear going on. So there is some shear in the atmosphere tomorrow, which does indicate we could have a severe weather risk. We will have enough shear probably to help those thunderstorms survive, because if you don't have shear, thunderstorms can't survive because the updraft and the downdraft have to be separated in their own areas. So, and if you don't have wind shear, that rain will drop into that warm pocket and collapse that thunderstorm. So, definitely something we're going to have to watch tomorrow for sure, but I just kind of wanted to show sounding. It kind of shows some of our information again, instability being around 1,000. We do have a little bit of shear, like I said, 30 to 40 knots of shear, and then SRH is pretty high up there too. So again, there is that chance of tornadoes. Maybe not the biggest significant tornado event out there, but there is a chance of tornadoes showing up. And again, it's something we really have to watch tomorrow afternoon. Okay, I just want to finish off with this graphic here made by the National Weather Service here in Kansas City. I think this is an important graphic just to look at because they are more professionals than I am. We're just going to go through this real quick. So tonight into tomorrow, heavy rainfall will be possible with some of the thunderstorms. There could possibly be some isolated damaging winds and a little bit of large hail being possible. There's potentially 2 rounds of it between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. tonight. And then there will be another round which may not be as bad, maybe kind of weak. Maybe just be a few rain showers between 5 to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Again, The longer that round lasts, again, will affect our atmosphere tomorrow with the severe weather and all. There's all sorts of fail factors that can happen. If you've been on my Facebook for a while, you would know that sometimes severe weather doesn't go as expected as what the Storm Prediction Center puts out. There's many different fail modes. This just shows the potential of severe weather. So again, we do have to watch that. Friday evening into Saturday, damaging winds will be possible, large hail, possibly isolated tornadoes. Again, this is a threat that depends on if we see supercells in the afternoon develop, if we get that heating. Heavy rainfall will also be a possibility, but these thunderstorms will be moving very, very fast. Again, 2 rounds, as I said earlier. First round will be between 3 to 9 p.m. That's the time where supercells could develop, and it could have all hazards associated with them. Round 2, between 8 to 3 a.m. This is going to be more of a damaging wind threat, but again, I do worry that there could be a chance of QLCS tornadoes being possible with the kind of environment we're in. I wouldn't be surprised if the line is beefy. If the line ain't that beefy, then we may not have to worry about much. If really both rounds aren't that beefy, again, we may not have to worry about a big severe weather risk, but there is that potential with some of the greens coming together. And this is a big note down here. Round 1 storms are highly dependent on morning thunderstorm activity and cloud cover throughout the day. As I've been saying in this video, morning thunderstorms, very important and vital tomorrow, and cloud cover. If we have cloud cover, again, we'll bring down probably that instability. We may still see instability with cloud cover, but we wouldn't see potentially as much heating for those thunderstorms for them to grow and become a tall thunderstorm and cause significant severe weather. So, if the best case scenario is we have rain lasting longer in the morning and cloud cover after that rain falls in the morning. That's the best case scenario to stop some of the severe weather. Worst case, we don't see that much rain and thunderstorms tonight, and we clear out tomorrow afternoon and potentially see some strong to severe thunderstorms. And hopefully that ain't the case. Again, the outlooks are here. This is the one for tonight. There is a little severe weather threat, not a big threat. And again, tomorrow there's that enhanced risk, which is 3 out of 5 on the scale. But again, there is some uncertainty, and is why they downgrade some of the risk. So, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the update. I wanted to give a little update about what's going on, so you guys know kind of idea of what's going on, what the outlook looks like, and just a little bit of timing and information about what's possibly going to occur tomorrow. So I may not be able to do another update, at least video-wise, but I'll try to have more updates throughout the day tomorrow on Facebook and all that. So yeah. Well, thank you all for watching today's video, and hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Thursday. Almost to the weekend.